All right, so got all kinds of, what do we got here? Contract, yeah, that's contract complete for science from the surface. World first milestone, we have entered into a suborbital flight of the moon. Yeah, we did do that. Another contract complete for science data from the surface. Moon probes, you have successfully performed the automatic moon probes. That's awesome. Strategy has become available. Look at all these strategies that are now available to us because we finished off that one. And in fact, let's do that right now into our Tier 3 administration building. And the one I am looking at is Moon Program. Does the same thing. Milestones around the moon, gets you more funds. And the objective is simply to plant a flag on the moon. One Kerbal, plant a flag on the moon. Done. Let's do it. All right. Excellent. And I think what we need to do, I'm just looking at the time of the stream. Yeah, I kind of want to put a Kerbal in orbit. We've not done enough stuff with Kerbals. It's time for a Kerbal to go into orbit. So, contracts. Just got... Yeah, the moon probe we'll ignore. Let's hide you for a little while. But we're going to need to cross the Kármán line, which is simply to get above 70 kilometers, and to do a crew orbit and return safely. This one can be done in a suborbital flight, but why don't, we're just going to do both of them. We're going to go for an orbit. That is what we're going to do. So, we are pulling out our Mark 1 command pod. Now, this is where Kerbalism, let's take this out. This is where Kerbalism starts to become all kinds of fun. To date, Kerbalism has really just been about the differences in how we collect science. But now, let's get rid of these contracts. There's too many things open. But now, I gotta think about keeping my Kerbals alive. And there's all kinds of things I have to think about. So let's get into configuring this probe, this pod. It's not a probe, it's a pod. There it is. So you can see aboard, it has a scrubber. And the scrubber is there to remove carbon dioxide from the air that the Kerbals are breathing. Of all the bits not to mess with, if you got Kerbals and you're in space and you have Kerbalism installed, don't mess with the scrubber. Don't turn it off. Don't get rid of it. Always make sure it's there, because I find the easiest way, for me, the closest I've come to killing Kerbals with Kerbalism is because of CO2 poisoning. So you definitely want to take care of the scrubbers. Make sure the scrubber is ready to go. Make sure that it always has electricity, because if it runs out of electricity and the scrubbers turn off, you're in trouble. Thankfully, the electric demands is not that high, but definitely want that. And also, we have a built-in monopropellant fuel cell, which burns monopropellant to create electricity. So that is nice as kind of a backup means of electricity. So that is cool as well. So I'm going to turn that all off. I'm going to make sure that that stuff is on. Let's see here. Okay, the scrubber is on. The fuel cell is off. That's okay for now. I also want to make sure that this is ready to take crew reports. That is great as well. And something else is, we're used to having the launch escape system. This is the stock launch escape system, but it's so freaking huge. But I have a launch escape system junior. Look at that. That's obviously meant just for this. And I was playing with this a little earlier. Oh, like that's a Mercury redstone. I love that. Is so beautiful. That is just great. So we definitely want to have this guy involved in the mix. I like escape towers. Technically, well, to be honest, actually, with Kerbalism engine failures and stuff, you might have a good reason to use an escape tower. Now, I think there is a decoupler, but I'm noticing the decoupler is not showing up in the staging. I don't know if that's a mistake. So what I'm going to do... Actually, we'll deal with all that in a little bit. Let's do that. Now, this guy's going to need parachutes. We shan't forget the parachutes. But I guess I'll just go with a pair of radial chutes on the side here. Like so. Kind of huge, but... Oh well, what you going to do? How big are these? that out of the way. How big are these compared? These are a ton. Oh, these are the same. Okay. So that's that. We need a heat shield. Thermal. A 1.25 meter heat shield. And we got to think about propelling this fella. So let's think about this. I just only need to give it, it doesn't need a lot of delta V really. Like 100 meters per second or so would be just fine. So what I'm going to do, you think about this. Yeah, let's put on a decoupler. The TD, this one. And let's put on this guy. And let's see if I can get away with something super small. That's what I'm thinking. So this is a thrust to weight of 1.83 and a delta V of 266. That is perfectly serviceable. Little starting to play. There we go. A beautiful, it's perfectly serviceable little service dude. Actually, it won't have this on it when it's coming back, so it'll just be like that. 376 meters per second of delta V. That is perfectly great. Now, let's set up for our Kerbals an abort action group so that if things go really, really badly, these Kerbals can get away. So if in a case of an abort, I need to decouple that. Boom. And we need to toggle these engines. Where is activate? I'm on the wrong thing still. Ah, oh, silly boy. And I guess I'll put just decouple on action group number 1. Why not? Actually, let's get down the list here a little bit. Let's put it on action group number 5 so I don't hit it by mistake. Decouple. There we go. So, in an abort, let's get back to that. This decouples, that pulls this guy off. Yeah. And then we'll... Yep. Okay, and let's get this into space. So, what's the mass of this thing? 2.5 tons? That doesn't sound too... There's a booster that can lift 2.8 tons. Am I already there? Is this already going to work for me if I just... let's edit this fairing. If I just bring that up like that. I'm serious. Is this might be the end of it. I might be okay. So... Yoich. Let's change that to like a darker... Not much difference in that. I don't know. I'm getting too picky with the look of it. Of course, this has the... Boop. Do I want that white? No, dark is the way to go. Dark is the way to go. Oh, wait. There was one with a white stripe. Sure. Sure. Okay. I think we're getting close. Now, let's go over here. We'll take a look at some of the things it's telling us about in Kerbalism. So if we take a look at the food, we can see that he has 5 days of food. He has, if I come across here, 5 days of water. Or she. Actually, let's put Valentina in there now I'm thinking about it. Jebediah's always hogging the seats here. Let's put in Valentina. Take away that parachute. Okay. So, back to here again. And 5 days of oxygen. Down here, it's telling you about their stress. Their living space is a little bit cramped. Their comfort's very poor. One of the things that's a problem with this guy is that this capsule is not pressurized. So, they have to live in their spacesuits. They don't like that. But as long as they're up for a short period of time, that's not going to be such a big deal. It says here a duration. I'm assuming that's how far they can stay in here before they go completely mental. And it's depressurized. Tells you the volume, what they got in there. The scrubber is good. You definitely want to pay attention to that. The breathing, I'm not sure quite what that's saying. Oh, because of a lack of atmosphere, we're going to be losing, yeah, this leaks atmosphere pretty quickly. If we click over here, it tells you what their radiation will be if they're in low orbit. We're going to keep them in low orbit, so it's going to be fine. Here we're getting reliability, and how long it's going to say. Redundancy is a good idea. I do have redundant attitude control. How do I have redundant attitude? Oh, because of the... Okay, I don't have redundant attitude control. This is what we should be looking at. Redundancy is poor because we only have one form of life support, one form of attitude control, and 2 ways to land. I guess they're counting propulsive landing, but there's no way this thing will propulsive land. It does. Do I own those repair kits yet? I'm noticing it says I don't have a repair kit, but I don't think I have them yet. I do not. So that's life, no repair kit. And I'm not pressurized. What I want to do though is give him a source of electricity. If we take here at the monoprop fuel cell, let's configure this pod. This monoprop fuel cell consumes monopropellant and generates electricity, and it consumes it at 0.090 a minute. Now there is 10 units of monopropellant in here, and I worked out that, let me see here, that will last for 1.85 hours. However, it also requires oxygen. You certainly don't want it to be using the oxygen that's there to keep the Kerbal alive. So what I'm going to also do is just add on, let's get rid of this booster, a pressurized tank. Where are my little pressurized? Where are they? Why did I forget where my pressurized tanks are? I thought they were in this group. Okay, now I'm confused. That's science. Where are those pressurized? Pressure. Okay, for some reason... Oh, wait a second. Just because I'm not on this. Oh, that was weird. Okay, there we go. Pressurized tanks. What I need are... I figured out if I put in 1,042 units, 1,422 units of oxygen in one of these tanks, and then make 4 of them. There. That will run the fuel cell for 1.85 hours. At which point this thing is out of electricity, and then we are in some degree of trouble. I don't know. I think Jeb will be okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with that monoprop fuel cell running. I'm also going to go in here, because he has 5 days of food. I mean, he can only live for about a couple of hours, so there's absolutely no reason for him to have all that food aboard. So we'll take out most of the food. Shieldings doesn't need shielding. You can actually add in radiation shielding, which is great if you're going to leave low orbit. I'm thinking this is looking pretty good. Let's take this fairing out. Yes. We'll leave it on there just like a cowling. Okay, let's check our staging. That's the middle one. That's that. That's that. And then I know what I'm going to do. For an action group, on action group 5, I'm going to select this. We will decouple it and activate the engine, and that should send it soaring off. And this parachute needs to be with that. I'm thinking this is a thing. Now let's just go quickly through the checklist, because I do want to make sure. Fine print, so let's bring up those contracts, cross the Kerman line, and get into orbit and return safely. Nothing fancy there. I have control. I played around with the cabin space. I have oxygen, water, and food. I don't need to worry about waste. There are things, radiation protection I don't have to worry about. Science, he's just going to do a crew report and an EVA report. I've done everything else there is to do. Power generation I've taken care of. Electrical storage, I told myself I should just have 50, which I think is just what's in the capsule. Where's electrical? Oh, he's got plenty. There's no problem there. Antenna strength is irrelevant. Antenna speed is irrelevant. Data storage is irrelevant. I think. Yep. And propulsion he's got. RCS isn't. I don't have that unlocked yet. Parachutes are on there. Thermal protection he's got. Lights! Oh my gosh, lights, 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 lights. How can I forget about lights? Lights. Here, let's take... Oh, let's expand this. Bearing expansion. There we go. Let's put on some lights here. I'm just gonna... Yeah, I kind of like these. Let's put these on here. Too many windows. Aim these sort of downwards like that. That should work out well. Make them kind of ambery. There we go. That's what I was looking for. And we'll put him on blinky. Blink on. We should also put on some nice navigation lights. Put them here. 2 of them. Turn that to white and remove the symmetry, and this is the left side, so it's red. The cockpit hatch is always the top, by the way, for those people that don't know this. This one's going to be green. We'll just have those come on solid like. Let's change this color to gray so they sort of match in there, and let's put one more light right up here. We'll color this one blue so that we know where the hatch is in case we get lost. All right, so that's got that. That's got that. Okay, so lights are done with. Upgrades should be fine. How many? I got 17 ignitions in there. By the way, if this engine fails, we're in a lot of trouble for trying to get back down. So that's something to keep in mind. There's no cargo to take. Thrust to weight is fine. Fairing deploy we talked about, but I will, and staging. I've checked the staging here. Let's just play a bit with the launch thrust to weights. Let's turn off our checklist. I don't need that anymore. That looks good. And probably we can increase the thrust here. Oh, it's already at 100%, so that's as much as that's going to get. And I think this is good. So the one thing I do want to test, let's save, oh, we got to give this a name. For goodness sakes, this is the Spark 1. Naming it after the engine. Okay, one thing I want to test is the abort system. I want to make sure that the abort system works without me having to do anything. So I'm going to use the simulation mode. And I've made a change to the KRASH simulator settings that are going to be really apparent really quick. You think I should give Val a parachute in case she bails on her way down? I don't know. There's 2 radial parachutes on it. I've got this wireframe thing on here. Somebody suggested it in the YouTube comments, something you can turn on in the KRASH simulator. It's in the settings for KRASH simulator. It's kind of neat because it makes it readily apparent that this is a simulation mode as opposed to launching it for real. And also you can actually see inside and see parts that are normally kind of hidden, which I think can be useful as well. So this is just about testing the abort system. That's all it is. So I'm going to hit the abort key, and then I'm going to stage that parachute really fast. So abort. There we go. Parachute, and 5 to get rid of that. And hopefully we should be able to descend safely. And if we can descend safely in this situation, we should be good. Clearly, we're going to be descending safely. Everything is fine. Oh, that came really close to us. Now watch that. Boom! Okay, let's terminate the simulation. Let's do this.